What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Cam, and we're going to break down the Road to Glory deep dive here for College Football 27. Now, before we get into it, I want to make a confession. I did not play this game mode for 1 millisecond last year. Never been the biggest career mode guy, but last year, with the high school situations and no new positions. Obviously, a big talking point this year, but last year, no new positions. Interest was never something that I was that interested in. But like the rest of the news that they've released this year, I fear they've got me. But we're hopping here to the deep dive. So I just want to get that out there. Disclosure that I am not an expert when Road to Glory, but I understand what it was last year for the most part. And even if some of that is the same, I'm excited to actually play some new positions this year. Now, I guess the biggest change, obviously, is going to be the 3 new positions. We have edge, we have tight end, and we have free safety. Kind of interesting that it's only free safety. And kind of interesting that it just like maybe make you just make a safety, but free safety in particular. But either way, 3 positions that I bet I will do a career mode on each of them this year. I think tight end is the one I'm most excited for. I'll talk about that a little later. We get into the player archetypes and all the player attribute creation and all that stuff. But edge is fun as well, and then safety will probably be my second favorite. Edge is fine, but I don't know how really fun that'll be actually playing as it. But we'll see. Time, by the way, you would think we've had these positions. I mean, it's 2026 now. You would think we've had these positions. We know what. Take what we can get, man. Glad we got them now. But they talk about some new customization. They have hanging mouthpieces, single leg sleeves, back plates with team specific logos and branding. W equipment. I want to say people. W equipment people bitching on Twitter. Complaining does work. Hanging mouthpieces is cool. Single leg sleeves should have always been a thing. And the new roll jerseys, the crop jersey last year and the past 2 years, I guess, it looked awful, man. Hopefully this one looks better. I'm sure there actually is a screenshot later as we go in. And they say the original crop top style is still in. But I don't know why you would ever use that one, to be honest. And they talk about team specific backplate details, such as Notre Dame's play like a champion. They haven't. I don't think they've showed a screenshot of any of that stuff. In terms of the backplates, but I'm excited to see how those look. But yeah, build your player this year. You can create your own. The player customization is a much more in depth, kind of a la 2K. If you play 2K, you'll understand what I'm talking about. I mean, not even like a la 2K, like literally like copy and paste from 2K. Like maybe a lawsuit in the near future, but you can use templates to build off legends at certain positions, which I think is really fun, just to give people that aren't really used to the whole 2K, player creator, like how a little more in depth it is. You can just build off a college legend. That's a great feature, and I think there's like 5 or 6 archetypes or legends per position. So that's a W change. If you build your own player, you'll fully customize your player from the ground up. This path gives you control of your height, weight, body type, physique-driven attribute caps, and max potential. So this year, now, depending on what your height, weight, whatever it is, it's going to depend. You can't be 6'8", 380 pounds and have 99 speed or something like that. You can see in this picture, a lot of the pictures, it's going to be showing off a tight end, which, like I said, it's my most excited position to play. When we get this, it's going to show off. So obviously, the higher you make your height, or the lower you make your height, depending on probably your speed and your jumping or stuff like that, and the weight's probably going to be more related to speed and stuff. But as you can see from the picture, I'll move my face cam out of the way so this helps. As you can see, depending on what you make your height and weight, and I guess your body type, depending on it'll change your max potential, what your attributes can be. So, 265 tight end probably has a high toughness rating, 98 overall. As far as the blocking's not a little better, but 92 strength, and you can see the plus minuses and stuff like that. So, it's really, it's really the way it should have always been. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know why it wasn't like this already, but you kind of get an idea. The height and the weight is going to matter a lot more for realistic attributes, I guess you could say, which is a good change. Max potential. After completing your physique customization, it's time to determine your player's max potential. So just like your long-term ceiling, quote unquote, and your physique and max potential work together, but are not the same thing. Your physique determines the maximum physical limit an attribute can potentially reach. From what I'm reading this, your physique is like what your speed could potentially be, and when you set your max potential, that's what you can actually achieve. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. But they do a great way of explaining, or a decent way of explaining it here. If your physique allows for 95 speed, but you only allocate enough potential to reach 92 speed, then 92 becomes your long-term cap in that attribute. Hopefully that makes sense. Kind of a weird way of doing it, but I guess that's fine. Every attribute begins at a base value of 25. Not all upgrades cost the same amount. You know, upgrading speed probably costs more than upgrading, toughness or something like that. A lot of this, like I said, will feel very, very similar to 2K. Like, like, like the exact same with 2K. Attributes are going to unlock certain physical abilities and stuff like that based on what position you are and what your ratings are. Some attributes are also linked together to maintain authentic football development. So, short accuracy, might upgrade a little bit of deep and or medium and deep as well. The gap becomes too large. It'll show on the interface when a rating is linked. And we'll open this bad boy here. As you see on the right, you can see some abilities, some of the requirements to unlock these abilities. It's weird they decided to show off a pure blocker in the deep dive. Kind of an odd choice, but you see your points remaining. You could, max it out, choose on what you put attribute ratings in, and then unlock certain abilities. It is just like 2K. You put attribute points in, it shows you what kind of badges you may unlock. Like it verbatim, neck and neck, and it's gonna get even more similar to 2K here in a minute. I'm gonna talk about that a lot in this video, just because I do play 2K. Legend templates. So you can select legend templates, preset player builds inspired by iconic college athletes. Each legend template comes with a preset height, weight, body type, physique driven attribute caps, and max potential allocation. I think you can change this a little bit. Like you could start with Martellus, like one of these legend templates, and you could like change stuff around once you click into it. I think. I'm not reading the whole thing. Sorry. But these are some of the tight ends, for example. Martellus Bennett, Jeremy Shockey, Gronkowski, and the reason I'm excited for tight end, man, I think some of the most satisfying feeling in football video games is not the juking or spinning someone out. It's not even the trucking or the stiff arming. It's literally just a player that is just shrugging off tackles. That is so satisfying. I guess that is stiff arms as well, but just like, I'm not juking someone out. I'm not even necessarily running through you. I'm just running, and you just can't put me on the ground. And that was Gronk in a nutshell. And so I'm excited. I probably won't use the legend template of Gronk because I actually want to make my own player. I think that's more fun. But building out a tight end like that will make for a fantastic career mode, and that's what I'm excited about. But Gronk, Todd Heap, Ozzie Newsome, and Vernon Davis as options. And just looking for this Martellus Bennett, legend template, this guy looks cracked. Like, this looks very, very, very good. Next paragraph. Cap breakers. Okay. While max potential defines your player's initial developmental ceiling, elite players can push beyond those limits through cap breakers. So you can permanently increase an attribute cap. So, like, say you're capped out at 95 speed or something like that. You can cap up to 96, 97, blah, blah, blah. You can apply 5 cap breakers to a single attribute. A very high attribute cap, such as 95, may only increase by +1. A lower cap might increase by, 8, 9, whatever, that number may be. 25 total cap breakers, like winning the Heisman, becoming an All-American, win the national championship, stuff like that. This is how you can create truly legendary builds. Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, Bo Jackson. So cap breakers is going to make, your player even better. Interested to see how those are balanced. I don't know if it's a great word. It's a single player game for now. You don't think this player builder is the beginning of an online career mode type of thing, a 7-on-7 kind of deal? You're lying to yourself. It's coming. I'll talk about that at the end. Talk about mental abilities. It's kind of the same deal as last year, to my knowledge. I never thought these abilities really made that much of a difference. I mean, they talk about your academic meter, leadership meter, your brand, stuff like that is what's tied to your mental abilities. So they're fine. I don't really think this matters too much. But as you can see, some of them here, the natural improved resistance to weather impacts. But maybe I guess new this year is there's going to be one academic, one leadership, one brand. So you kind of got to balance that out. And the better you perform and the more consistently you manage your career, the more powerful your abilities become over time. And here is your summary, your strengths, your weaknesses, your top attributes, your badges, your abilities. I mean, I've said it 14 times. It is just 2K, which is funny. High school last year, I guess the biggest criticism was that it wasn't you can't play the full games. You play like a couple moments, and you have to do certain things to create your highlight tape or whatever. That seems to be still in this game, which is unfortunate, but it's whatever. People complained about it last year. They have changed it a little bit. Also, team builder in what's it called, in high school, and it's also a team builder in college, so your team builder can recruit you. That's pretty fire. But yeah, building your tape. So strictly high school centers around 5 games with 4 playable moments in each game. And this year we focused on making objectives feel more connected to the actual football situation you are stepping into. So the goal shouldn't be, as annoying, I guess. If the moment is built around needing to score, your objective should support that scenario. If the moment is designed around protecting a lead, flipping field position, should reflect what that situation is asking of you. This will help. Edge rushers maybe asked to execute pass rush moves like swims or bull rushes. Running backs, wide receivers challenge to cut, juke, make defenders miss in space. Essentially, they've tweaked the building your tape moments and stuff, but this is not the way people want it to be. People want the full high school experience. And if they don't, they get to skip high school. And if they do, they can play high school. Like, people just don't want. I feel like they're trying to satisfy both people that don't really care about high school and people that really care. The building your tape stuff is just not what people want. It's just not. This won't be in the game next year. Whoa. This won't be in the game next year. I can tell you that for free. No, they won't do it again. It feels like they had a more focus on like the player creation stuff and Dynasty as a whole, to be honest, this year than they did for Road to Glory. So I mean, it sucks that we have this again for another year for people that really enjoy Road to Glory. This won't be in the game next year. Your tape should not only reflect whether you completed a specific checklist or objectives, it should also reflect the total impact you made on the field. So that's good. This better reflects how coaches evaluate real football film. So like I said, they've tweaked the highlight tape in the moments just a little bit. Highlight moments also return. but they've been adjusted to create more opportunities. You kind of get the gist of it. Recruiting and scholarships offers. So it looks like recruiting is going to be a lot more in depth now. It's going to show your scholarship bonus. It's going to show the coach, their record, their scheme, their coach impact, their run pass percentages, their depth chart, their recruiting class. So, like I said, I didn't play last year, but this seems to be far more in depth than it was last year, which is good. And I always did appreciate that there was a whole like dynasty sim of college football going on while you're in high school. I always thought that was super sick. Um, and like great attention to detail from them, which is not something I often do, but I appreciated that. And if Pierce, that's going to be the same way. I just wonder, like, say you commit to Auburn, what if that head coach gets fired in the offseason, right? Like, can you commit during the college football season and then their head coach gets fired? And not that, like, that's a huge deal breaker. It is in real life, but maybe not, in game. But that's something I'm curious about. Maybe you can't commit to, like, the offseason. I don't know. I really don't know. Training day looks like the very same thing. The 3 hats on the table. Kind of disappointed that's not changed at all. And once you're in college, you have expectations depending on how many star recruit you are. 5-star recruit, you have early NFL draft projections. A 5-star player enters college with a first-round expectation. Interesting. So we have a much more draft stuff this year. They really want you to play both games. Really want you to play Madden as well. But yeah, you are no longer just building your tape. You are managing your draft projection, building your legacy score, and trying to be the player everyone believes you can be. I like this screen that is this his player though? This isn't his created player. I wish it would show you your actual player. This isn't the tight end they made. Clearly not. But as you see some stuff on the screen, you have your weekly, or your, not weekly, you have your projected draft pick. You have your, I forgot what the lightning points was called, like your time, really. Your academic, your brand, stuff like that, where you're on the depth chart, your overall, your weekly agenda. So I like that screen. It gives you the weather and stuff like that. It's also in Dynasty too, which is nice. But yeah, your draft projection becomes one of the most important measures of your road to glory career. They really, 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 really want you to play both games, which is smart by them. Your draft projection is shaped by your performance on the field, your decisions off the field, your player development, your overall rating, your position, your year in school, your career wear and tear. Interesting. If you make poor off-field decisions, become academically ineligible, or have too much wear and tear, that's kind of insane. Your projection in the draft could fall. Career wear and tear plays a major role in how you're evaluated. I hope that's balanced. This is, I think, outside the new positions, this is my favorite screen. So this shows your I guess my legacy, but more importantly, your draft projection and everything that has an impact to it. So it shows like what kind of star athlete you were. I'll move the face cam. So you see on the right, shows your career stats on the right, your career health, your biggest achievements on the far right. And on the graph, you can see it's showing moments that maybe increased or decreased your draft stock. Wish I showed a little more zoomed in picture, but I believe these are like rivalry wins. This is 10 wins in one season. This is, where's the Natty? I think the Natty is right here. Win the national championship. So this screen, I think, is my favorite. It's going to show you your whole career progress over your whole, college career. So it'd be so cool to see like a 1-star right here move all the way up to a top 5 pick. I assume that's possible. But yeah, I do really like that screen as a whole. And it talks about your legacy score, represents what you were leaving behind in college football, built performances, accomplishments, awards, all that deal. Okay, so this is draft project. Sorry, this is draft projection. This is your legacy score. So this is going to start at the bottom. Shows your best case legacy score is interesting. It shows you where you compare with legends, like the Maryland logo. I think is Vernon Davis. That's Martellus Bennett. I don't know who the UNC one was. Was there a UNC legend tight end? I didn't think there was, so I'm not sure what that is. But yeah, that shows your legacy score. Weekly agenda and fitness. So this is the new crop top, by the way. This is a better picture of it. This looks a lot better. Is it perfect? I don't know, but it does look a lot better. But yeah, like I said, I didn't play last year, so I'm not going to talk about too much about the weekly agenda and fitness stuff. Obviously, you got to manage your brand. You got to manage how much you practice. You got to manage your coach trust meter and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, if you don't study or don't keep up with your GPA and stuff, I believe you take negative effects because of that. But yeah, like I'm not going to pretend to read this and know what I'm talking about. So you guys that played, this will make much more sense to you than it will me. Scenarios and dilemmas is new this year. This impacts all your meters, your coach happiness, your projection, all that kind of stuff. Every decision has a trade-off. For example, you might find out you have an upcoming quiz. You could spend energy studying and prepare yourself, or you can wing it and spend that time elsewhere. If you choose to study, the quiz will be much easier because you made the investment. If you decide to wing it, you're taking a risk. There's actual quizzes in college football 27. If you skip studying and end up with a Spanish quiz, the quiz will actually be presented in Spanish. Welcome to college football class or college class simulator. There's rarely one perfect answer. There are choices and consequences, the career you would build from. Yeah, so study up. Now, obviously, these are timed as well, so you can't really look them up either. I'm just now seeing the little time logo. Yikes. Practice. Talk about practice. Practice apparently appears to be better. You're not doing the same basic boring drills. There's team drills now. There's position drills. So this should be more fun. They talk about game day. They talk about per play grading. There's it's like the teammate grade thing from 2K. Was here last year, so I shouldn't say from 2K, but is in here. This is supposed to help. They've improved this system, give better feedback in the moments. So should work better. Like I said, didn't play last year. Wouldn't know how it works. When your player comes off the field, you can watch the moments from the sideline, kind of like coach mode we talked about in Dynasty. Or you could skip to your next moment. But it's nice to actually see what happens when your player is off the field. So that is a W change. Commentary, I don't really care about. Commentary's off for me. I do not have the in-game commentators on. They're always pretty bad. Progression. As you earn XP through game day performance and practice, you will continue earning skill points that help move your player closer to the max potential you defined during creation. Season coach meeting. So at the end of every season, your career reaches a major checkpoint. Your coach will evaluate your performance, your development, your role, your off-field decisions, and stuff like that. You can enter the portal. They might advise you to transfer. Yeah, your coach may revoke your scholarship and encourage you to enter the transfer portal. That would be insane. And they offer you an NIL package. As you can see, this one's plus 16 academics, plus 40,000 brand, whatever that kind of stuff means. And yeah, here is the portal. It kind of worked the same way the committed screen worked. It shows you the depth chart, the coach, the record, the scholarship bonus, stuff like that. I didn't see it here if I didn't talk about it. I talked about it in the Dynasty deep dive video that we did. Go check that out. You have the Heisman ceremony in the game as well, so I assume if you win the Heisman, they'll have that in Road to Glory. I'm surprised that wasn't anywhere in here, but I didn't see it. But yeah, that's it for the deep dive. Like I said, I'm not the expert here. I just want to talk about some stuff that I was interested in the deep dive. But I'm excited to play this year with the new positions. Like I said, tight end, edge, and safety, especially tight end and safety, I will 1000% be doing a career. I don't know if I'm going to put it on YouTube. I don't really know how great of content that really is. I might have to wing it. I don't know. We'll see. But hope you enjoyed the breakdown. Oh, I forgot I was going to talk about this just for a minute. With the way the player creation is now, the cap breakers and stuff like that, and some of the small little microtransactions, the pre-order benefits they've sprouted in Dynasty. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a 7-on-7 multiplayer a la mode with your career player in college football in the next, I'd say, 2 years. I'd give it 2 more years. So by college football 29, we're definitely going to have something like that, I think. And I don't think they'll make you pay to upgrade your player. I don't think. But keep an eye on that. That might be something coming soon. Maybe some microtransactions in Road to Glory in the next couple years. But maybe with an online mode come with it. So is that worth it? I'll let you be the judge. But hope you enjoyed. See you on the next one. Deuces.